So I think we had a little discussion last meeting, and there were different opinions about this. So I just want to, at least from my point of view, the idea of having this group together is to have the opportunity for us to work together, to be able to find our ways of practicing and doing what we need to do. So, and my understanding is that it is also was working in the sense of at least some of the people were finding a place to do some of the sessions that they wanted to present, and hopefully they got some feedback. Is that correct? That's my understanding? Is there any other questions or opinions about this? I think, Iris, that you did present a session somewhere, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm not receiving very clear.
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
can't
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. So, Iris, you were one of those who presented a session somewhere in a group, isn't it? Is it from? Did anyone from the group participate in it?
You mean like having some section together?
Yeah. Did you present one? No.
No. Oh, not here. It's another. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Was it Nadisha then? Nadisha was trying to do something.
We are together, but in our Sri Lanka IIT group.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, I think my idea of a group also is partly that to be able to have our own group, whoever wants to present, and then we can continue. And also in our own preparation for the CPP, that we could work together and be able to help each other.
Yes, Chris, what is PPP, please?
CPP, Certification Preparation Package. That is what the CNVC has put as a preparation package, which I don't quite agree with the whole thing, but anyway, but that is it's okay to take it as a guideline.
Would you be open to share what you agree with and what you don't agree with?
Sure. Because CPP, as I understand, CPP, as I understand, is as it presented now, depends totally on feedback, and I don't think feedback is the best way to go about, because feedback, I think, is mainly to intend on improvement, really. So you can improve your skills, but you cannot improve your consciousness. So feedback does not touch upon consciousness, and NVC is mainly about consciousness. That is why I don't agree totally with that. So we need to include in it. I also suggested to the SSS group that we need to include some other exercises or means that we could touch upon consciousness. And the only two that I am familiar with is mindfulness and also meditation. So meditation in the sense of how it depends, it could be very clearly understood. I mean, meditation means so many things to so many different people. So that could be also more clearly defined what meditation here we mean. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, and it brought further questions up in me.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm taking in that you can improve your skills, but you cannot improve your consciousness.
No.
And so would you say you can practice consciousness, but you cannot improve it because it's already there? Or that's how you mean it? Or
Consciousness is something else. Improvement, actually, that's what feedback is meant for. It is actually meant when you are producing some things like a bicycle or a motorcycle, you see, you produce one, then you give it to people, and people give feedback, write on it and give feedback what need to be improved, and the next edition of the bike becomes a little better. So that, but here NVC is not about improvement. It is about a shift in consciousness.
thank you.
But feedback, of course, is very helpful for us to improve your teaching ability and your many of the things that that could be improved in our life. There is no problem with that. But still, the essential part of consciousness that need to be addressed to also in NVC.
Dear Chris, thank you for your answers. My question would be that what concrete exercise would you include in the program to help with this shifting of consciousness?
So, I mean, as far as I know, anything that really helps about consciousness is mindfulness practice, one. And the other one is the meditation practice, which, of course, meditation, that we need to understand what do we mean by meditation, because that we could further define and describe what meditation is. Because meditation means so many different things to so many different people. And there are so many different ways of meditating and all that stuff. So here we need to say what is the meditation that we are talking about that could help us to shift consciousness.
How would you define your understanding of meditation?
Well, I mean, that we could have a session on that if we want to, because it's need to be, I mean, I don't say this is the way to meditate, but then this is my understanding anyway of a meditation practice that could help us to shift consciousness. But actually, some of the other practices in the CPP are also helpful. Like, for instance, journaling practice is also very helpful to shift in consciousness. That is, whenever you are attentive and alert to the shift in consciousness that happens in daily life, and then begin to take down, journal, then of course that becomes a practice. And then you begin to recognize what is meant by this shift in consciousness. And this happens to all of us, or many times.
And if you are conscious in more and more moments, isn't that a kind of improvement?
Yeah, but then how do you, what is the practice for that?
Okay, so you're missing the practice for the consciousness from the CPP.
Yeah, see, I mean, there is no mention of it very much. And also the practice, not all the practices that are designed, and mainly the feedback, is not very much. It may be in certain ways, it may improve, certainly. But consciousness, I would consider even the journaling would be a very good practice, one of the practices that could really shift consciousness.
Thank
Right?
you.
In other words, what you do in journaling is you don't simply journal everything that you do or what happens to you, but it's actually you start journaling only when things begin to shift in your perspective, in your understanding, and in your life, in some way, some shift, you see. So once you begin to pay attention to it and start journaling, then you begin to become more alert and be aware of this shift in consciousness. So that is also helpful. But the other ones, like mindfulness practices, of course, very much focused on, it's a practice really to develop your consciousness. And also it's a meditation, is also a practice to develop your consciousness.
Chris, can I ask you something?
Yes.
So, with everything you shared, I'm questioning, is the certification itself, doesn't make much sense if it's about certifying a shift of consciousness, as it's an ongoing process?
Yes. Yeah, I'm just telling the whole process of learning in VC and really understanding the process as itself is about a shift in consciousness. I mean, you might understand with your head, that is not something else. But if you want to truly to understand with your heart, it's a question of shift in consciousness. So I don't think the certification is not the best way, because I don't. So that's why I said certification is something only you can do it for yourself. It's not an assessor who can certify you. So as an assessor myself, when I certify someone, what I say is that I'm a witness to this person's commitment to living the process, practicing it in a community. That's all what I mean by assessor. And of course, now I see that certification has become so very difficult sometimes. People sometimes we make the certification a very difficult part now, because I don't know because honestly, I think no assessor is capable of certifying anyone. So that is another problem. So they can say, I certify you, and then they can also say, I don't certify you. What you see? So this is a little difficult problem there. So certification happens only when you really certify yourself. That is, you recognize and acknowledge and open yourself to understand. And certification is not one one moment event like an enlightenment, but it is something that it's many moments of it, in the sense of you understand the shifts, and then as you grow and you begin to understand yourself much more deeply, and to understand that you have a clearer understanding of the process.
I have a question that when we refer to consciousness in terms of NVC, does it mean that I can stay with my feelings? I can find my needs? Or what do we mean under consciousness from NVC point of view? Or is there any consciousness from NVC point of view at all?
So the question is, what is the place of needs and feelings when you're talking about consciousness? Is that the question?
Yeah, I mean, what is consciousness? What you refer to? That practice consciousness. What does it mean in daily life?
consciousness, in simple terms, it also means a self-realization. All right, really understanding oneself. I mean, it doesn't mean that self-realization doesn't mean that you change yourself, that you simply understand yourself. So the needs and the feelings, they all remain as they are. Because, I mean, even briefly to talk about meditation also, that is what it's, the goal of any meditation actually is to towards a self-realization. In other words, when you meditate, you come in touch with the feelings, you come in touch with your thoughts, and they, you see, because thoughts are a problem for all of us, because they don't ask you permission to come and they don't ask you permission to go. And we have no control over them very often. And we begin to say that these are my thoughts and these are my feelings, you see. But actually, they are not your thoughts and they are not your feelings. Actually, even this body is not yours. No? It is, you are not the body, you are not your feelings, and you are not your thoughts. So in meditation, that's what you do, that you just, it's meditation is not a mysterious thing. It is just to be silent quietness, or what you might, traditional, what we call prayer, is to be able to be in the presence of what is, or presence of what you traditionally call God, or the or whatever that may be for different people. All right, and also to be able to be in your presence. So, and that means to recognize the thoughts that come and then they go, to be aware of them, and to really to find this this oneness. So that is basically is the meditation practices also.
I had maybe an observation question. So
Yeah.
after the IIT, going back to real life, there was this sweet spot moment where I felt like it was so easy to practice it. And when I was talking to people, it was easier to connect and do all the things. But then as time went on and real life became more hectic and became the more present experience, it was so much harder, to the point where in some cases when people were talking to me, I sort of consciously thought, I'm not going to half-bake practice some theories I learned at NVC because I don't feel like I'm really here. And it was hard to, and I feel like now I'm getting a little bit slower. And so it's nice to have this moment, but I felt like I had to pause on theoretically practicing it because I didn't feel like I was actually there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, also it's my first IIT and first NVC, so it felt like I had a really long way to go to make it feel like a daily practice kind of thing.
Well, I don't know whether it's a long way or short way, but yeah, I wouldn't call it neither long or short, because what you call self-realization or self being, just being. So it is not totally based on any practice, but we do practice hoping that we will get there, because there is no set path for self-realization. There are different practices, but you try, yes. Yeah, but that's a very good observation, I think, Nadish. Yeah, these are the things that you will write on your journal, That's basically why this journal, I believe, is also something that can help. Eva, do you want to say something?
I have the impression, Chris, finally I understood your approach to certification. I'm extremely grateful for it. And I just want to celebrate that. And I heard from Marshall many times. I was around him before he handed over the certification. And it was an enormous struggle for him. And the most memorable sentence, what is essential, it's not measurable. All what we can measure, that's not essential. And this guy had a PhD. And he was speaking about observation for 30 years. And this is the loudest sentence to me when it comes to certification. And like, how do you give feedback about something that's not measurable? And I love your approach, Chris, because I hear the same thing. It's how can I relate to my consciousness? I'm not sure if improve my consciousness, the improvement is the best word, but I hear the same message. And many people said, oh, Marshall is control freak. This is why he is scared to give away certification. And his
Actually,
system,
Marshall had, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
his system was far from perfect.
Hmm.
Finished.
Yeah, but Marshall had a dream, as all of us know, that he found something very very special about this process. And he really wanted the whole world to know this and everyone to know this. It is not for those who have the money and the time and the leisure, but it is for all that he wanted to. So that was his dream, I think. And he went traveling like crazy, all over the world. I mean, because he had something really, because of this dream. And I think now I begin to see that the bottleneck to his dream is, I begin to see now this certification has become a little bit of a bottleneck for his dream. Because certification has become, at least as we present it, becomes so complicated, complex, and so expensive, and sort of people are a little afraid to approach it. And that is certainly not the wish of Marshall. And I didn't want to criticize the present certification because I myself have not gone through it. So I have no right to criticize it because I have not done it. But as I see it, this is sort of, it's becoming a little more complex and
I heard from you earlier today, Chris, that it's a process. It's not a moment like an enlightenment. And
yeah.
for me, I realized that it creates some. I have. I resonate with that very much, and at the same time, the certification is kind of like a moment type of thing, and for me, this creates an inner conflict. I realize that um, that it's a process, and at one point, I'm saying that. So if it's about my consciousness, and I can say when I'm certified or I can be certified. If it's a process, what point when I say that I am there yet? I don't know if what was my question
Yeah.
clear?
Not totally, but I more or less what I understand is that certification is also a moment of moment of consciousness. Is it? Is that what you said?
Um,
Yeah, you can say a little more because then it'll be clearer for me and for you probably.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, because yeah, it's also not fully clear for me. That's why I cannot express it fully clear. My question is that uh, my current understanding that it's a lifelong process.
It is.
And while it's not an improvement, it's a
Yeah.
journey, some sort of journey. I just realized my battery is going to shut down, so I just look for my battery. And my question is, if it's a process, during this process, at what point am I saying that now I'm at the point where I want to be certified, and it's time for me to be certified?
That means when you see that you have a clear understanding of the process.
Okay.
And clear understanding of what this process of NVC is. Right? That is not just knowing with your head, but knowing with your heart and or with your true self.
Thank
and
you. That
which is a
helps.
different thing. Yeah. So that is what, when you say that, that means you have a clear, and doesn't mean that you understand everything about the process, but but you have a clear understanding of it, that I am able to really share it with other people, and to be able to share it a little more clearly with others, that they can also come to know it. When you have that thing, then you can say, yeah, I am ready for certification.
Thank you. That helps.
We have 6 more minutes. Any other question?
I was going to ask if, like you said, if certification and the sort of formal process is not something that we currently have time for. Besides meditation and journaling, are there any other practices you would recommend that we can do that's not within the system, if that makes sense?
I mean, some of the exercises and practices could be of help in the CPP. Other practices also could be of help, like, for instance, the KDs, key differentiations. That gives you, of course, at least KDs stands for the key differentiations. To know the different things, how they are different, and also it means how they are also one, right? So for instance, key differentiation, you talk about strategies and I don't know what are the key differentiations that you have to write about. Those, I mean, the practice of really thinking about them and writing about them also are very helpful, because then you acquire knowledge, but also you begin to understand a little more deeply why they are different and why they are one. So, of course, the best practice, of course, is just practicing. I mean, NVC is, for me, very simply, is really it's NVC is about compassion. really not that you have compassion, but you are compassion, that you begin to really understand the whole concept of compassion, which is love. So in that sense, it is not something very complicated and complex and difficult. It is very simple, you know. Love is the only language that love is the only language that all of us know.
Father Chris, so is it that you mean you say about oneness? If we are meeting ourselves from our heart to be our true self and in presence with what is at that moment, and we become love, then we can certify.
Yeah.
If we meet that moment, we can certify.
I mean, everyone has those moments. I mean, it's not something that we don't experience. All of us have that experience. But when this experience becomes really the usual, you know, then of course, then you are ready for really certification, and you know that you understand a little more clearly.
But you means like once you experience, you get more and more frequent in your life, and at some point, so there is like still have a point that become usual.
Yeah, it becomes your way of, like, you know, when you start learning even the language of NVC, that becomes normal for you. It is not, you know, in the beginning it may be a little strange, but then afterwards it becomes quite common for you.
So like before, like myself is getting in touch with that, and then somehow day by day, time by time, like not fully of myself, but maybe half of myself, and then getting more and more of myself always at that present moment.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to be, because normally if you're trying to be present, it's not an easy thing, because you may be able to be present for about 5 or 10 minutes, you know, but then that doesn't, but the practice is actually that it becomes a permanent way of living for you.
So for your like from your from you, when that moments become, like for example, for easy understanding, in 24 hours except sleep, sleeping time, how many of the time you are keeping that status is certified from your standard, maybe not standard, from your understanding?
Well, actually, in the sense of when compassion becomes your language, all right,
Mm,
you know it when it becomes your language, all
mm.
right, then you know that you are there, all right.
Oh, you mean sometimes we still have Jekyll? Of course, we are human beings, but
Yeah,
every time,
that's
yeah, then when there is the self awareness and consciousness,
yeah,
then the compassion is always there. So
yeah,
you will aware
yeah. It's
between your
not only,
Jekyll and compassion. Yeah.
yeah, it's there, and also it's always accessible for you. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you.
Thank you.
I very much would like to keep the time. We promised 1 hour. And at the same time, I would like to know from you, Father Chris, if you are open for any more questions.
Yeah, I'm always open for questions. There's no problem.
Yeah, Chris, you said you are available until 10 o'clock your time, and now it's 10 o'clock your time. I hope you connected with yourself and double checked if you still have energy, but any other
Yeah,
question?
I'm still, if there is a question, yes.
Eva, I would like to double check my understanding. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. In last question and conversation, what I got is when I learn NVC and those systematic observation, feeling needs and requests and try to practice it, some things maybe out of me, it comes from outside and I'm trying to practice it. But when it became me and it comes from inside, it's some things that even if I want, I cannot avoid it. I see everything through needs, through humanity, and what instead of even when I have judgment, in same time I am aware it's my judgment. It's not some things that I believe it as a fact. And in same time, I feel the source of any action. That's my understanding, that when I became in that point, and it's NVC is not something that I learned. NVC is something that comes from inside me, and it's part of my soul. That's the time I can say, yes, I can be certified trainer or anything, and I am ready to give it to others. Is it right?
Yes, but I mean, it could be, for everyone, it could be a different point, in the sense of it doesn't mean that you can certify yourself only, you can call yourself certified only when you're perfect. I'm not talking about perfection, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about understanding of yourself and understanding of NVC in yourself, right? How much is it part of you, right? And also that you have the clarity about this process. Not just the knowledge, but understanding.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
won't call it. I don't see that you need to be 100% sure that you know the thing. There is no such thing as such. It's an ongoing process, right? Because you continue learning a deeper and deeper level of this process. So it's like, kindness, compassion, love, but then there is no perfection in them. in the sense of you can always go deeper and deeper and deeper in this process. So the question is, when would you be able to call yourself certified? That you are, I would say, when you are confident, and when confident to share, and also when you have also confidence from the feedbacks, also feedbacks in that sense also may be helpful, how it touches other people also. So that's why it's not only just the process of learning and doing all these CPP, doing everything in the CPP, but also the practice is very important, because when you start sharing, then you begin to see how it touches other people and how people are responding to you. So that will give also a little clear understanding for you. Does it, am I making it more confusing for you? Oh.
No, maybe I need to think about it more. When you say clarity about the process, you are pointing to the knowledge part?
Knowledge, but also not only knowledge, but also understanding, in the sense of knowledge which is part of yourself.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Father Chris, I
Yeah.
saw there's a question in the chat that concerning to start to share MVC. And yeah, maybe we can take a look.
Where is it?
In the chat.
It's Reni's question. I can read it if that supports you.
Yeah, okay.
Says,
yeah, please.
I have a question concerned start to share NVC because I'm just here and I need support. Could you say something about this as well? That is Reni's question.
Okay. So I will first ask the question, what support do you need? I mean, I know every one of us needs support, but actually, what is the support that we need? It's good to know something about, is it support in what sense? I mean, about how, anything about NVC itself, knowledge base, or is it something about knowing of how question or whatever that you want? What kind of support are you thinking of?
Is there translation for Reni? Or I don't see even now. I don't know if there's translation, but Reni, if that supports you, I can translate.
Azt megköszönöm neki.
Fordítom.
Csak akkor én jobban tudom mondani magyarul szerintem. Köszönöm.
Okay, then I'm translating for Reni.
Igazából én nagyon...
Kérek, de van fordítás a WhatsApp csoportban, amit létrehoztunk. A kezdet óta van magyar fordítás. We have Hungarian translation in the WhatsApp group. But if you ask a question, we can translate. And Reni, if you can go to the WhatsApp group to listen to the answer in Hungarian.
She's there.
Okay. Sorry.
She's there. She has a question.
Great for me to Chris.
Sorry.
Thank you. Szóval szeretném elkezdeni megosztani ezt a csodát így körülöttem.
I'd like
Valami,
to start sharing this miracle around me.
és igazából fogalmam sincs, hogy hol kezdjem.
And actually, I have no idea where to start.
Mert amikor a barátaimat kérdezem, ők teljesen bezárkóznak.
Because when I'm asking my friends, they fully close, they shut down.
És én ezért gondolkozom, kezdeni úgymond idegeneknek.
So that's why I'm considering sharing it with unknown people.
Okay.
Anyone?
Yeah. So that I see what you're asking. That you say, for instance, actually, as far as NVC is concerned, the support is always there. It's not because people tell you, when you speak, they answer you. When you ask questions, they answer you. So if they shut down, they're saying something in the sense of, I don't understand. I'm not there to be able to connect with you, right? So maybe that you'll have to find a different, because if you talk the NVC language, sometimes it's not very clear for other people, right? But if you really translate it into ordinary language, then of course you can connect. So I think the way that you put it, you don't know where to start, that is true for every one of us. We don't know where to start, right? Because if you are expecting a specific response, of course, we won't get the response that we need, or what we are asking for, but we will get the response for what others give you. That is where you work from, So Marshall always says, it is about what they tell you that is most important for you, in the sense of so that is your beginning, actually. That is when you speak, they don't understand, then of course, then you'll have to see what you're telling, and then you may have to find another way of saying it, So that itself is the way of practicing it, So just like a language, when you speak, you make a lot of mistakes, all right? But those mistakes are very useful for you to learn it a little more, because you begin to eliminate the mistakes and you begin to say it a different way. And that's how you learn a language. So also in NVC, right? So maybe what you want to express is not clear for them, or they don't hear it. So you'll have to find a different way of saying it. So just that's why Marshall has this beautiful image of surfing, because it is not falling from the surf is also part of the process of NVC. That is, it does not work. And then again, you get back on the surf and try it again. So NVC is that same process. Does that anyway help you, Rennie?
It was difficult to translate your last sentence, so can you say again, this falling part of the self? I couldn't translate.
Yeah, I mean, Marshall
please translate.
explains. He
Please repeat.
in NVC is like surfing. That is, yeah.
Az MK
Marshall
olyan,
says
mint
that in
a szörfözés a vízen. Tudod, ez a windsurfing, amit a Kinga nővér tanít.
So, but when you fall from the surf, that is also
Amikor
surfing.
belesünk a vízbe a szörfről,
Oké, most már értem.
And then you get back onto the surf and then try again. So that making mistakes is part of the whole process of learning NVC.
Please, can I add one more example?
Yeah.
Can we imagine how we would have learned to walk if we would have criticized ourselves after each fall?
Yeah.
And Rennie, in my recollection, each of my friends thought NVC is absolute bullshit. And 10 years later, they said, if you are earning your living for 10 years from NVC, maybe there is something in it. And some of them regret didn't learn it earlier. So you are not alone, for sure, with your friends. And your friends are not stupid, just they have different focus. Anything else from you, Rani?
Thank you. What I wanted to say, and I think in Hungarian, I'm not clear neither sometimes. I cannot talk about NVC with them because I just ask them, would you like to listen what I would like to say? Or we have a exercise to share what we learned in the formation, and they say, no, I don't think it's my topic. So, and yes, I know because I have a support a lot, and when we make practice, I can say good things as well. So it's okay. Just I could say about NBC to who is interesting. So that's why I'm looking for people, and I need an ID. How can I, to who can I say something? And maybe it's not my friend, and it's okay. Or my colleagues, because I ask everyone. This is my homework I made, and they say, okay, no, thank you. És azt most így magyarul még hozzátenném, hogy nyilván 8 órán keresztül nem tudok empatikus lenni, vagy mindig, és azért gondolom, hogy ha valaki olyannal kezdeni, úgymond új lappal, hogy csak a NVC-ről beszélgetnénk,
So
Anna
what?
fordítod. Sorry, Anna, translate.
Huh?
Could you
Again.
translate it, Anna?
Yeah. So what I'd like to add in Hungarian is that I cannot be fully empathic for full 8 hours. And meg tudod ismételni, Reni, mit mondtál aztán?
No, I think I'm not the person maybe who can talk about NBC or who uh, who knows me from a long time, because I was not this person. I was so critic. So, mert nagyon az az ember voltam, aki ugye nagyon sokat kritizált, nagyon sokat nem ezzel a móddal élte az életét.
Because I used to be a person who used to criticize a lot and lived her life with a different mode.
And I guess maybe that's why they doesn't want to heard about me, because I was not always
Yes. So,
Chris, would you please explain us what this phrase means? You cannot be a prophet in your own home.
yeah. Because because in your home people all have different judgment on you, no? So it binds you. So that is also true of ourselves, because we have our own self-judgments that it keeps bothering us. But I think NVC is when you because when you speak NVC, people sometimes think that you're trying to change them, and no one wants to change. So they don't want to listen to you, one thing. And the other one, of course, is when you start living and practicing NVC, it changes you. And you may not be ready for the changes that your life becomes. That's also another part of it. So NVC is because if you're going to really live and practice NVC, you must be open for your own changes in your own personal life. That's going to happen. Does that help you, Renee? Or I mean, this is.
Rani, are you complete, or is there anything else? Rani, bármi más részedről?
I get a lot of good sentence and I have to be open with myself and with the other people, as I understood. And I have to be ready for the changing or accept if someone doesn't want to change. And I should not give up and just try again and again. Just I don't have people around me, so I'm a little lost, but I don't think I will give up anyway. Um, I'm not living in Hungary. I don't have so many people around me, but I'm doing course. I don't know the class, the NVC. So I have a support NVC around me because we practice between us. But what I would like to share NVC around me or use NVC more. Yeah, I feel a little lonely and lost. So I need more support.
Yeah, I understand. Actually, the whole idea of having this community is really to support. So at least we can always in this community itself, you can always speak to others and you can find support because we are all fellow travelers, we all make very much the same mistakes, so we can help each other. Thank you. Thank you, Rani.
Thank you.